Okay. Now it's
All right.
All right, we're back to BGT. And as promised, we have Daddy Joe here, Mr. Joe Louis Phillips. I'm Demita.
I'm Pat.
And we're back. So, go ahead, Dad.
Well, I think it's good for your children to want to know about your history as much as you can, and the generations before you. And you'll be able to tell other parts of our family things that are so important to us and that we should remember them.
Yes.
You know, Dad is very cantankerous about our hereditary line. I think about it so much, and that it's so important that, and my children are interested in knowing. So I've agreed today to talk to them and say some things that they need to know. And it's formal today. You'll be able to hear it again if you need to. I think what they would really like to know is basically where they came from as far back as we can go.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll be dealing with the Phillips side of it. And what I was told, and what we do have some records on concerning our family and where we came from. I think that I was told that my great-grandfather,
look at the camera too, look that too.
His name was Box Phillips.
Box Phillips.
Who came over in this part of the country early, and they migrated from Alabama this way. And the first settlement was out in the Sandy community. And then when he was there, he was enslaved by a family name. Their name was Strauss. And he was considered, his family was considered to be the #1 slave family. They had them 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And Boxville family was considered #1 slave family. And when they were freed, well, Box Phillips heard the Emancipation being read at a place we call Comanche Crossing and gave them their freedom. And then Box Phillips moved down in what we call the Dawes Springfield community. He was one of the early settlers there. He and about 3 other black men. And they purchased some land down in that area. And as of today, we still have in operation some of the Box Phillips property.
Where did that name Phillips come from? Do you know where that came from?
I don't know, but I assume that it was a name that they brought in from Alabama. I don't know that anybody close in this area was named that I have heard of. And I'm sure that my grandfather brought that from over in Alabama to this area.
Now, Dad, one time you told us you thought that our roots could go back as far as in Africa, descending back to, I think you told me, the Watusi tribe.
Yeah.
Is that what you heard? Or?
Yes. We were told earlier, that the ones who came over here were from the Watusi tribe. And the genetic factor that centered around the Watusi tribe is a characteristic of us because they were tall men.
A lot of height in the family.
And a lot of height in the family. And sometimes I say my children played basketball, a lot of them did, and they could jump pretty good. Watusi had something, after we studied a little bit, they were athletically built.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that we actually came from that tribe, and this is where my grandfather came. And when he moved over, when he finally moved to the Dar community, he was married, and I'm gonna later tell the children her name. I can't. It doesn't come to me right now. But out of that family came maybe 4 or 5 boys, and the one that we were closely connected to was named Mac Phillips.
Mac.
He was a son of Box, and that is my grandfather, who actually farmed the land that Box Phillips then purchased out there around the Dar community.
And this is Matt.
Yeah.
Which one? Who's your grandfather?
My grandfather.
Your grandfather.
Was, see, Box Phillips was my great grandfather.
Okay, great. Box is your great grandfather.
Mac is my my grandfather.
Okay, okay. All right.
And out of Mac and Eula Phillips came Haywood Phillips.
Okay.
That's your dad.
My dad, L.Z. Phillips.
Uncle LZ.
All right.
He lived
Bogue.
in Bogue.
Bogue Phillips.
Bogue.
Rail.
Aunt Rail.
Oh, it's a lady. Rail. Okay.
Aunt Make. Aunt Annie Mae. And my children knew her.
And Dut.
And Aunt Polly, who was the youngest one. And my aunt and them lived on the land there until they passed away. And my kids went there many times.
Oh, yeah. We had fun on the farm.
Summer,
Go to the farm.
weekends. Weekend getaway.
I have told them that in the process of my grandfather, Mac Phillip, and we have documents to that effect, showing where that he was trying to make a crop out there, and he had a mule and a horse, a cow, and maybe 2 hogs, and he needed a little money to make that crop. And he went to Mahia to some lender. It's on the document. And he only needed $134 to make that crop, and he had to mortgage everything he had.
Oh my gosh!
Except and including the crop that wasn't even made.
Wow!
That's how they wrote that note up, and we actually have that note in our business here at home. We have that. It's getting very, very old. It's more than 100 and some years ago, but we have that note where my grandfather mortgaged all he had to make a crop, and I don't know to this day whether he paid the note because we have it. But I was never told whether or not. I'm sure he did make the crop to be able to pay the note.
Is that to keep the farm?
To keep the farm and because he had mortgaged the land and to keep the farm. I think that if you were to call families in this community, especially in the Darling Springfield community, the Phillips family would be what we would consider a cornerstone family. They've been there for forever. And I encourage the children to maintain what land they do have. And they will. They will pass it on down to others and tell them some of the things that
you're telling us
I'm
today.
telling them today. Now that is as far back as I can go now. Are there any questions that you kids need to ask Dad that you think I might can answer? It just doesn't matter what it is. If I know, I want to tell you. So you can have it down on record.
All right. Well, we'll take a break, and we will be right back with Bringing
Generations
Together.